I want to explain something about suffering, pain, and meditation. There is nothing like pain. Pain doesn't exist. Pain is an illusion. It's something that is carved out of fear. And suffering is something that is caused by the person who is experiencing it. So suffering is personal perception. What others will perceive as suffering may not be suffering to the person who is experiencing it. So it is hard to define suffering. It is difficult to explain to an ordinary person what suffering is and how it works and how it is not suffering, what we experience, how it is something that creates who we ought to be. It is what we call suffering and pain is what makes us who we're supposed to be. And so running away from it is denying ourselves an opportunity to go where we need to be. And suffering is born of separation. Existence is like a blanket, or existence is something like this, like a block. Just like that. That's how existence is. Everything is part of this. It's synchronized with that. It's fused into that. You are part of that. Nothing is not part of that. Everything in existence is part of this. When you begin to detach yourself from this, from that, and move away from that and become I am, that's where the problem is. When you move away from that whole block, when you move away from that wall, when you move away, when you chip out as a particle, want to go your way, you become an ego. The whole existence could be defined as a collage of egos. Everything that creates everything, a particle of egos that come together to core. So you are a rebellious ego. I am a rebellious ego. The reason why I'm sitting here right now is because I'm a rebel. The reason why you are sitting there is because you are a rebel. The reason why this table, everything here you see around here is because they are rebels. In the universe of what it is, everything is one and sticks together. When you break out, you become jumbo with all types of rubbish. The best way to explain this is to take what we call mortar in building a house, concrete. If sand remains in water, it will not find rocks to mix with. It will not find cement to mix with. But when we go in water and we harvest sand, put it on the side. Take cement, put it on the side. Take water, put it on the side. Take concrete, put it on the side. Take all the things, the rods and everything, bring them together and put them in the mixer. And begin to turn it. They will begin to beat each other. And aches and breaks and sharps and accidents will begin to go on from one of them to another. That's the best way to explain our lives. They've been moved from their original sources and brought together in a place where they're supposed not to be, and now they begin to fight to survive. There is vibration. And so this one is knocking this one and it's breaking and sharpening and survival of the fittest. When we chipped away from the original source, we found ourselves falling in places that we ought not to be. Here, we've tumbled in so many places. Even here, we feel as if we are steady. We are just feeling that maybe just for 100 years or 50 years, we are still tumbling. Our 100 years here may be a second in the eyes of the universe. So we are still tumbling. We are like a piece of concrete or a piece of sand or a piece of cement that is in a giant mixer. That's why we are hurting. I saw this. We chipped away from that wall, from that big giant block that is the entire existence, that is the Godhead. There is no God out there, and then there is a God too out there. The God is that giant block, and at the same time He's everything. There is no any other God that looks like a human being like me, but there is a God that communicates with me. That can be anything. When you chip away from the source of life, problems begin. Because you don't get the nutrition, all the components that you need to have stability. First of all, when you chip away from there, you move away from stability to instability. Everything that chips away from reality becomes a vibration. The energy that belongs to that reality doesn't vibrate. Everything else out of that reality is a vibration. The problems of human beings emanate from vibration. In the source, there is no vibration. It's total silence, it's total stillness. And when you go back to the source and stick back to the source, you get protected. It's like you are in a wave and you are looking for a rock to cleave on. And once you find a rock or a tree and you hold on to it, you become protected. In this case, when we are looking for the source, we are not going to hold on to it. We are going to fuse into the source to become one again with the source. Unfortunately, when we have broken away from the source and we still have the flesh with us, we still have the ego that is buried inside the flesh, which the flesh now has taken up into the earth, where it's an arena for vibration. And the earth is just part of the universe, is where vibration operates. Because the moon, the stars, the sun, the planets, everything which is physical and even extraterrestrial is still vibrating. Everything which is vibrating is not yet connected to the source, because the source doesn't vibrate. The source is still. everything that has broken from the source will begin to shake and vibrate and begin to fly from one angle to another because it doesn't have something to hold on to. I saw this. I saw where we went wrong. Even you have masters who have come, we human beings have called them masters. But they were not masters because even at the point of death, they were still vibrating, they were still scattered. Even though they did extraordinary things, they were not attached to the source. It's only when you attach to the source, you stick to the source, you become still. Nothing moves you that you know that you are a god. The Buddha only became Buddha, a god, when he died, because as soon as he died, he became still. He attached himself back to the source. When I die, I will stick back to the source because I've been promised that. I tested it. But the good news is, if a master finally taste the source, stick to the source through transcendental meditation, or what I have called infusion meditation, which is the furthest part of meditation where you have transcended everything and finally you are infused with the source. Finally, you infused with the source and you are trusted that the only reason why you are coming back onto earth is because you have a connection with the flesh and you need to deal with the business of the flesh until the end of time. That doesn't change the fact that anything about you will change. Everything will still remain the same, but you have finished the cycle because you paid the price of pain and suffering. The Buddha sat there and paid the price. I went into the state of hibernation. And anyone who pays that price, anyone who reaches the source, I will know. Because when the person explains it, I know the person reached there. Because I know how it feels like. I know what it looks like. I know what it smells like. If nobody has been there, nobody will doubt me. If nobody has been there, nobody can dispute me with that. Because that's what I experienced last night, this morning, May 2nd, 2015. It's only through pain and suffering and resistance and resilience and not trying to play games with the pain, but to accept it, to deal with it as if it's a tool to arrive somewhere, and watch every single action the pain, every twist and turn the pain is taking. It involves a lot of gymnastics, a lot of exercise, a lot of breath suspension, a lot of headstand, a lot of vigorous and rigorous and intense stretching. It involves taking the pain, the beating, subjecting yourself to it and accepting it and watching it beat you down. And it involves you telling pain, I'm gonna defeat you. I don't care how hard, how tough you think you may be. It involves giving up everything. And what happens is this. Listen to this. When one gains enlightenment, you call yourself enlightened because you are aware there is something. You are enlightened about something. Most enlightened people end at that level of enlightenment where they realize that is what it is. Finally, I gain the knowledge that there is a God, there is a universe, there is life beyond this one, and I can tap into some elements, some truths about that. But how do you get to become a Buddha, to get to that level where the Buddha went? It's when you transcend that point of enlightenment. Because during meditation, we can meditate and travel to planes, plane after plane and plane after plane. But we will still not yet be infused with what it is. To taste reality and live reality and be there. And then choose to move away from reality and come back. So, most of us who are enlightened can go very deeply into meditation, can transcend from pills to levels to levels to levels to levels. There are myriads of levels we can go to and have incredible experiences plus miracles. I've never performed a miracle. I've done deliverances, but I've not performed a miracle. I cannot move this cup with my telepathy. But you have people that can move it. You have people that have experience. They have the power to move it. Some just learn it. That's what they want to do. But when enlightenment ends at the point of just knowing, it's not complete. One will either complete it here on earth, or you complete it here and you have assurance what is going to happen when you die, or you wait till the point of death and then you complete it. But what could happen here on earth is, after enlightenment, if one can decide to go through the second process, which is fighting with pain and suffering, torture, intense pain and suffering, there comes a point one day that one will just be determined to find out what this is in its entirety. Why is it separate from what it is? And how can it be infused into what it is? And that enlightenment, that awareness, will take that one to a point where that one will challenge himself to find out the truth. Come rain, come sun. That's why Gautama went and sat under that tree. He said, come rain, come sun, I'm going to find out about this. And when you reach that point, when one reaches that point where one has decided that it's the life and death, and goes and sit there and intelligently begin to work intentionally, changing gears and strategies and working and performing all those processes they've gone through, the yogi practices, the exercises they've gone through, to a certain point. Lots of headstands do the most of the job. Lots of breath suspension, hours of breath suspension, blocking the breath for hours, just refusing to breathe, telling breath, you are not part of me, denying breath its opportunity to invade your life, doing lots of headstands so that the energy that went down to our feet will go back to our head. Lots of nasal training, lots of eyesight exercising, lots of throat blocking, lots of throat release, lots of intestine workout. It's incredible exercise, pain, and work. It takes hours upon hours of work. One has to liberate the body entirely to prepare for this journey. The only reason I know it is because I was preparing for it. I didn't know I was preparing for the journey. I didn't know what was going to happen. What only happened is every time I began, when I realized there was a challenge with my eye, I would focus on that challenge until I defeat it. When I realized there was a challenge with my nostrils, I would focus on the challenge until I defeat it. When I realized there was a challenge with my ear, I couldn't hear well, I would focus on that challenge until I defeat it. When I realized there was a challenge with my throat, I have a beautiful voice. I did not have that when I was growing up. I focus on it until I challenge it. When I realized my intestines were having problems, I focus on it until I challenge it. When I realized parts of my body was weak, I focus on it until I challenge it. I picked every single part of my body, year in, year out, and I challenged them. I take them to task. It may take years for certain parts to get broken. Just like today, there are still certain parts of my body that have not been broken. But the challenges, there are so many of them. But as time goes on, we begin to break down most of them. As we kept breaking them down, there comes a point where the focus moves from everywhere else and comes back to here. Because this central point of a human being is the most important and the most intriguing system we have. To deal with this, there is a lumbar here that goes like this, down our throat, and gives us the greatest headache. It's what stops us from breathing well. It's what stops us from standing up straight. It's what stops us from spiritual enlightenment. It needs to be stretched and open and released. It's like a pipe. When one has broken all the other elements of the body and softened every part of the body, that's when you feel, it feels like a flexible pipe starting from the throat, going down right to the anus. That's how it feels like. That's exactly. It feels like your intestine that begins from the throat and goes down. And then there is a little one that connects to your head. You feel it. But the body needs to be merged over long periods of time to arrive at that point. In the Eastern religion, they split it and they call it, they say that's where the chakras are aligned. I feel it, but it's a pipe. And that pipe, when you pray and you stretch and you're doing things, that's what obstructs us from breathing well. It needs to be stretched like a rubber until it stretches and it opens so that whatever thing you want to be flowing in and out, there is no obstruction. It takes hard work for that pipe to be stretched and tamed. That's the hardest thing that even enlightened people, even masters, can tame. When that pipe is stretched and tamed and it's no longer blocking us from breathing, from stopping our breath, because that's that pipe that makes us want to breathe. When we can finally conquer it and defeat pain and open that pipe in a way that it stretches out, in a way that air, because our body needs just very little oxygen to flow. So when we suspend our breath, just little oxygen is needed to flow in and out. That pipe should be flexible enough to let the release of little oxygen to feed our bodies so that we will not be vibrating. Because vibration is the cause of suffering and pain. And when we vibrate, we cannot be attached to source. And so when we sit to meditate, after we've done years of exercises and open the lumbar, stretch out the pipe and everything, and now we can sit down and suspend our breath. And this part is tough, is because every enlightenment is found around here. This head from here, from your shoulders, right up here, is where knowledge is found, is where wisdom is found, is where good health is found. The crown, this is where everything, our lives, all the buildings, the construction, everything is around here. That's why a spiritual being has to concentrate energy around here. And that's why the devotees of My Soul and I devotion are trained to work around this neck, around the head, to activate the energy here. And that's why headstand is good, because when this is activated and it becomes very strong, your neck becomes very strong and potent, you can do headstand for hours to reverse energy back into your head, into your crown, and you will not feel it. And when your neck, when this portion of the body is strong, spiritual enlightenment becomes very easy. Awareness becomes very easy. That's why there is a lot of stretching to be done with My Soul and I devotion. Lots of exercises, because it's to make you strong. And we are not talking about pain yet, because pain is a big lion. Pain and suffering itself is the elephant in the house. It's the crux of the matter. The reason why people don't get enlightenment is because of pain and suffering, because when they want to practice something, they realize it's hard, they give up. They abandon it. And the whole concept of spirituality is to eliminate pain. How could you eliminate pain when you are running away from it? When you are avoiding it? It strikes me that somebody will having back pain and go take medication. Those are little problems to be solved. You have a sprain on your foot or something, or your backache, or you go take medication to calm the pain instead of going through the pain and defeating it and conquering it. Your body is an experiment, and you're supposed to know your body. The doctor is supposed not to know your body the way you know it. Go tell the doctor how you feel. The doctor is supposed not to tell you how you feel. We will deal with pain, because when you deal with pain, you become fully enlightened. When you know how to manage pain, to go through pain and get healed through pain and get healed all around through pain, you become a god. Don't be fooled. Most people are afraid of experiencing pain and suffering, and so they cannot say they are strong. Most people cannot attain enlightenment, full enlightenment, because they run away from pain and suffering. You have to go through it, experience it, deal with it, challenge it, until it realizes that you can't give up and that you are not afraid of it. It backs up, leaves you alone. Once you bypass pain every moment, you are getting closer to blissfulness. I want to stop here. I don't want to talk a lot about stuff that you don't understand because it's not necessary. Let's build something slowly. But one thing I would love you to understand is there's an opportunity for you to evade suffering and pain. It doesn't matter the situation you're going through. Don't hesitate. Talk to me. I don't care what. I don't know how to convince you. I don't care how rich you are. You know, one day I was watching something, a video online. It struck my heart. What I watched. And I thank God for that young man who did the video. I lived in the streets before. And it's good to test the mindset of these rich people. Some people call themselves rich. Or some that are very, very terrible in reasoning. The young man is not poor. He just wanted to experiment something and he decided to dress like a homeless person with a couple of dollars in his pocket. Make his signboard and went and sat somewhere. And when people were passing, he targeted them. Look for those that were well dressed and have good cars. And behave as if he was begging. And then when they walk up to him, he would give them a couple of coins or cash and they would insult him. Some would insult him. People are so proud and so full of themselves. And so they can't even have an opportunity. They lose an opportunity to find gold in rubble and rubbish because of their pride. They can't dig their hands and soil their hands to get out gold. Everyone who is caught up in this material world believe that the best things will only come from special people who are well trained. I'm a certified accountant. I'm a certified therapist. I'm a certified. I'm certified with nothing. I have diplomas, a lot of them. I don't need them. I've never used any. Don't be fooled by those things. Get knowledge and free yourself from trouble. I'm not here to ask you to give me any money. I'm not here to try to get you to impress me. You don't need to. I don't need any impression from every human being, from any human being. Don't impress me. I've arrived where I needed to go. I know what most humans don't know. I'm not speaking out of pride. I'm just saying, don't play games with your life. And don't think you will need a Messiah, Jesus Christ, to come from heaven down here and wear a robe and with gold and apparel and have a Rolls Royce before you know that you can get salvation. Salvation is right at your doorstep. Salvation is talking to you right now. And my name is Emmanuel Mallo. Do something with your life. Don't let stereotype fool you.